Welcome back. Today we are going to revisit Prime Minister. And in this case, I'm going to be playing the Clockwork 2 game. And the key distinction in the Clockwork 2 game is that the Clockwork opponent can be the Prime Minister. And in fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the Clockwork opponent as the Prime Minister and me as the opposition leader. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to shuffle randomly through the Clockwork opponent's deck. I've taken the two one-star opponents out of the deck because I don't want to play against them. But I've left the rest of them in here, and I'm just going to shuffle through, and then when whichever one I land on is the opponent that I'll be playing. So here we go. So my opponent is going to be Russell, and his ability, his special ability is has to do with influence. You can see, like, when he is the opposition leader, he is able to shift influence. When he's the prime minister, he's able to shift influence by 20. So with my Clockwork opponent being the liberal from the Liberal Party, I'm going to shuffle through and pick a prime minister or an opposition leader from the Conservative Party. And I get Benjamin Disraeli, whose special ability is hobnobbing. So when I hobnob, I am able to draw two cards, and I pick the one that I want to keep. So with that, we start. We skip kind of the round setup, and we go straight into bill selection. So his selection range for liberal bills is only 250. It's a little lower than most folks. But it's still not high enough. So he's going to be drawing 6 cross-party bills to consider for this turn. And before I look at these two carefully, let's see. His selection range for all is 310, greater than 310, or moderate is greater than 280. So if he's got any moderate plus 10s here, he's got quite a few of these. Whoa! Okay. Wow, he has a lot of these. Okay. So priority is, first of all, is victory. But all of these bills are within his selection range. All of them are. So the next criteria is going to be going up the most. Well, the next criteria would be standing, but none of these give him standing. And then the next one is going to be going up on the greatest gain on the election charts. So going up 2 with farmers and 1 with workers. Workers 1, farmers. That one is definitely going to get selected. So we'll just move that over here. Then this will be next because that will drive him up in 2, and this will be again because that'll drive him up in 1. So all 3 of those are going to get selected. So we've got the Ground Game Act, which is moderates plus 20. So that's going to put it at 290. And I just want to note, I'm using the alternate vote tracker because I think it's a little bit nicer, especially for videos, because it actually shows you the vote totals, and so you don't have to always keep in mind like how many moderates or partisans we're dealing with. It just kind of shows you where it is there. So we start, and just to be clear, he starts with 270 moderates. So 270 plus 20 puts him at 290. Same is true for the Dwellings Improvement Act. It puts him at 290. And then the Public Health Act puts him all the way up at 310. Okay, so he's going to have the ability, the problem that I've got is he's going to have the ability to move all of these bills pretty quickly and pretty dramatically with his influence action. So it's going to be, I think, really hard for me to prevent him from passing any of these bills. And all of them are going to are going to be very effective campaign tools for him. So I could be heading to like an early situation where I am going to get kind of blown out on the first election. In fact, it's really almost not worth it to me to try to debate any of these bills down. These guys are going to be going, and like in the first turn, even these bills are going to be going to like 350 once he shifts the balance of moderates and partisans. So I think I am going to start by taking advantage of my best ability and Hobnob. So I'm going to draw 2 supporters. And I can either force him down in conservatives, but he's already at the bottom there. Or I can go up with farmers, which is not bad for me. Or I can go up with Scotland or workers. Scotland, workers. Neither of those is really my main constituency. So I think I'm going to take this card. Let me actually switch quickly to a color so we can see the cards when they're in my hand. Isambard Kingdom Brunel. With the intention of going up in farmers, but I'm actually not going to bother playing that at this point. I'll hold that for a little while. And in fact, I'm just going to repeat that action. I'm going to Hobnob again. All right, that one is a much better card. So I can either go up with conservatives and down in Ireland, or I can cause him to lose 1 in standing, or I could debate a bill or go up 1 in standing. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this card. I think that one seems vastly more powerful between the two actions. Unfortunately, I don't know how I'm going to prevent him from passing bills until he kind of maxes out his partisan moderate sort of swing here. I think it's going to be very hard this first time through. I would need to draw like almost all, a whole bunch of all bills here to give me a chance. Okay, so with that said, I'm not going to do anything. I'll hopefully play them next turn. He is going to start by drawing a Clockwork event for himself. So if his standing is greater than 9, it is, and the highest bill is greater than 320, which I believe this one is at 3. No, that one is at 310. So he is not going to end up spending a cube on these actions. So what he is going to do is he's going to I'm not going to move cubes because it's just the same thing. He's going to basically move moderates from 270 to 330. He's going to move them by 60. So he has a completely moderate government at this point. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, I mean, just 330. That one is now at 370. And these moderates plus 20 are at 350. So now it comes time for him to pass a bill. And he will choose the Ground Game Act because that is going to sort of win the tiebreakers, right? It's the largest net gain in popularity points. So he will pass the Ground Game Act. So that will give both of us 2 victory points, but he will go up 2 in farmers, which gives him +4, and up 1 in workers, which gives him, so he is now +6 on the election projections. So I do believe I might be able to prevent, with some concerted action, I might be able to prevent him from passing, the Dwellings Improvement Act. I can at least give it a shot this turn. So, okay, so then we go back. So there is no challenge. There is no election. So then we do at the beginning of every turn, you reset your action cubes. So I'll do that for Disraeli here. Move them back. And also the Prime Minister gets 4 victory points, and the opposition leader gets 2. And I'm going to kind of not show that anymore because that, like, showing me mechanically moving those things around on the screen is not that exciting. But I wanted to remind you that that's what's happening every turn when we sort of reset for the new round. So with that, it is my turn again. And what I really need is the ability to campaign to drive this down. He can move it by 3. I'd like to... I don't know if I can get that down far enough. I think I'm gonna forgo that right now, and instead I'm gonna focus on campaigning because I think I have to prevent the next election from being an utter blowout. So I'm going to go up 2 in the farmers. 2 in the farmers. So that takes that down to there. And then I'm going to campaign twice with my own character. Conservatives, middle class, or workers. So the conservatives would allow me to crank it by 5. So that's what I'm going to do. Is I'm going to crank it by 5. He'll probably do some campaign. Yeah, he's going to do some campaigning as well. So he'll move it as well. But hopefully we can kind of do a little bit of keeping pace here. Okay. So on his turn, first things first, let's draw an event. So if the round off the PM's election prediction to the nearest 10, if this number is low, so that hurts. So he's projected to get 325, rounded off to the nearest 10 is 330. And so he's not projected to lose seats. It's not less than A. So unfortunately, that would have been great. That would have given me a standing. I could really have used that. Probably should have played this card to get myself in position for that by-election, but hey. And he doesn't spend any cubes. So let's look at his priorities. He's can't shifting influence. Influence is now futile. There's no point. His defense range for these bills is all these bills are out of his defense range. So he's not going to debate them. So he's basically going to go up 1 in middle class, gentry, and liberals. Middle class, that's 2. Gentry's 2, and liberals is 2. So he goes up 6. So he's now at 5. So now we got to choose a bill, and he will, as we did earlier, he'll prioritize the Dwellings Improvement Act. Because it's going to have the largest net gain on the election track here. So he's going to go up in Ireland, up in workers. So that is going to take him out to that space there. And no challenge, no election. So I'm just going to reset for the next round. Okay, we are ready to go. There is absolutely nothing I can do about this Public Health Act. And he is which essentially means he's going to be going up 4 campaigning this turn, which is a lot. So I still think I want to hold that guy. I'm going to hobnob. I'm going to start by hobnobbing once. And I'm going to hope to draw some cards which allow me to do some decent campaigning. So I could drive that bill down by 10, or I could cause him to go down in the liberals or the farmers. Well, we'll drive him down with the liberals, I guess. Not as good as I was hoping for, certainly. But we're going to do it again. So I can use that to either go up 1 in standing or go up with the conservatives, or I could use the other one to raise myself in gentry. If I went up with the conservatives, it would raise me by 3. I could play it in conjunction with that, which would cause me to go up by 9. It would take these 2 cards, which shift standing out of my hand. I think I'm going to take a risk here. I'm going to take a risk and hold these 2 cards for a future play in which I make a big jump in standing. And in the meantime, I'm going to kind of let this election go. Hopefully it won't get too out of control. So then he takes his actions. So he's going to spend a cube to campaign in workers. So that takes the workers there. And then with his next cubes, he's going to campaign with the middle class and the gentry. So he goes up middle class, he goes up with gentry, so he goes up by another 4. So he's currently looking at a chance of either 350 or 360 seats. which is going to make things a little bit challenging. I think I'm going to have to really focus on debating down bills, or I don't know. We'll see what happens. So he is going to pass this bill. So after that, we pass bill. So he's going to pass this bill, which is going to have the further impact of having him go up with the middle class. Makes this a little bit worse. And then he's also going to draw a supporter card. Now he holds that supporter card. Sorry, just want to move this up a little bit so I've got a little bit more room. He holds that supporter card. You hold them when you draw them as part of bill passage. For the you'll hold them for like your next round. And then both of us get 2 victory points. So there's no challenge, but there is an election. And in this case, he is projected to win seats in the election, so he is going to hold the election. So this uncertainty card actually matters quite a bit. If it's negative in any way, it'll keep him at 350. If it's positive, he's going to have 360, and it would be better for me if he did not have that many seats in Parliament. So unfortunately, he gains an extra 2. So he is going to end up with 360 seats in Parliament. Now, he's got 130 partisans, which means he has 230 moderates. So the good news is that's a little bit of an even split, meaning it's kind of a little bit more down the middle, so it's going to make it a little bit harder to get things into passable range. But we're going to stop after that election, and we'll come back next turn with bill selection for the next round. Thanks for sticking around to the end of the video. Hope you're enjoying the video. Hope you're enjoying the series. Hope you're enjoying the channel. It'd be great if you could leave comments with suggestions, like, for example, with games that you'd like to see come to the channel, or improvements that we can make to the channel, or if you spot me doing anything wrong rules-wise, let me know. And definitely subscribing and hitting the notification bell for when we produce new content would be great. But we will see you in the next video on Agility Snips Gaming Table.